Hello everyone, welcome to the Cinema Analysis channel. I am Juzo. This channel will explore the hidden truth of films that are not usually revealed. Today I want to talk about The Boy and the Heron. I want to talk about why this film has mixed reputations. If you haven't seen the film, I suggest you watch the film first before watching this video, so let's get started. So, did you see the film? Most of you must have been confused. The film's reputation is divided in two. Half of those who have seen it praise it as Hayao Miyazaki's best film, and the other half criticize it or keep silent. The reason for this is probably that the film is very difficult to understand. I can safely say that most of those who criticize this film are honestly confessing. They say that they cannot understand what Hayao Miyazaki wants to say. There are those who praise the film even though they can't understand its meaning. Most of them say that the beautiful images are worth paying money to see. These people are also honest. And some people say they can understand this film. Some of them say they can understand it and praise it, and the rest say they can understand it but reject it. It is not sure whether each of them could really understand this film or not. Probably most of those who reject this film believe that those who praise it are lying. They don't believe that those who praise the film really understand it. They think they are just pretending to get it. First of all, I must tell you about the original Japanese title of this film, How Do You Live? The inspiration for Hayao Miyazaki's film is a book of the same name, published in 1937 and written by Yoshino Genzaburo. It is a children's book about a 15-year-old boy called Koppel. Koppel suffered because he had betrayed his friends. He thought about his sin and finally overcame it. But this is not the original story of the film. Hayao Miyazaki was inspired by the book and wrote the script for the film. The original title, How Do You Live, has something to do with the theme of the film. I want you to remember it. What makes this film very difficult is a very long opening and the character of the protagonist. The audience can hardly understand the purpose of the protagonist, Mahito. To make a long story short, the plot of this film is almost the same as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Alice, who was chasing a rabbit, ended up in Wonderland. She experienced lots of things and managed to get back home. What Mahito does is almost the same. He followed the blue heron and ended up in another world. Although Alice is said to be 7 years old, Mahito seems to be around 15. He is a well-educated wise boy, raised in a rich family. He was wise enough not to believe the suspicious character, the heron, but he followed him. The reason for this was to bring his mother-in-law back to this world. Mahito suffered a trauma when he lost his mother Hisako in a fire. After her death, his father found a new wife who looks exactly like his dead wife, and who later turns out to be her real younger sister. Her name is Natsuko, and she was already pregnant when she married Shoichi, Mahito's father. The family has moved to a country house with a suspicious tower next to it. The tower is said to have fallen from the sky. This is where he meets the suspicious blue heron. Natsuko had a relative called Great Uncle, who went mad from reading too many books. He became obsessed with the tower and wandered into it, and then disappeared. Knowing that the tower was terrible and dangerous, Natsuko told Mahito to stay away from it. But Natsuko wandered into the tower. Mahito decides to go in and get her back. This is Mahito's motive for embarking on his adventure. But this reason is not convincing. Mahito does not seem to be intimate with Natsuko. And why did Natsuko, who told him to stay away from the tower, wander into it? Besides, she was pregnant and told him she was happy to marry his father. A lot of people seem to have the same question. You wouldn't have the same question in the film Commando. It was obvious that the hero played by Arnold Schwarzenegger loved his daughter so much, and the wise daughter was kidnapped and not follow the bad guys. Stories that depict another world usually fall into two types. One is a story to go back. These are stories like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland or The Wizard of Oz, and also Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. At the beginning of these stories, the protagonists live in a peaceful world. For some reason, the protagonist is forced to move to another world, and you have to struggle to get back to the world you were in. Another is a story to go. The protagonists of these stories live in an uncomfortable world. They struggle to escape from there and finally succeed to go to another world. These are stories like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Avatar. They struggle to escape from there and finally succeed to go to another world. Is the world in which the protagonist lives comfortable or not? This determines the course of the story. The hero of the film, Mahito, is wise and the son of a rich man. He acts as if he has no problems, but he does. He has not got over the loss of his mother and has been attacked by flashbacks. The world he lives in is wartime Japan, and he couldn't even fit into society there. This protagonist seems to be Hayao Miyazaki himself. He was born into a rich family that ran a military industrial company that made fighter planes. His mother was also in hospital because of illness. No wonder Mahito wants to escape the world he lives in, but he looks strong enough to deal with the situation. This makes the story difficult to understand. Is this a story to go or to go back from another world? Whatever it is, some viewers must be confused. The reason Mahito entered the tower was actually to beat the Heron he disliked. He was too enthusiastic about making a weapon to beat the Heron to notice that something strange had happened to Natsuko. He claimed that he entered the tower to look for Natsuko, but that was just an excuse. He wanted to beat the Heron that invited him to another world, but he was tempted to go there as well. Just as the great uncle was obsessed with the world of his own imagination, Mahito was drawn to the tower. Invited by the suspicious Heron, Mahito entered the tower. Then the great uncle, who actually rules the tower, orders the Heron to lead Mahito. Then the two begin to act together. Inside the tower, Mahito met a girl called Himi, who had the power to handle fire. She asked Mahito, "Why have you come here?" He replied, "I'm looking for a woman called Natsuko." She asked, "Younger sister?" Mahito replied, "No, she is my mother-in-law." This is a tricky expression. This younger sister means, are you looking for my younger sister? But he and the film's audience think it means Mahito's younger sister. This conversation implies that this girl, Himi, is Hisako, Mahito's mother. With Himi's help, Mahito found out that Natsuko was in the maternity room. Mahito tried to persuade her to go back, but she refused, uttering a terrible curse. Mahito was confused and could not distinguish between Natsuko and his real mother. This scene is also hard to understand. Why did she do such a thing? The magical evil power of the tower might have allowed her to do so, but she knew to stay away from the tower. She could have avoided the tower in the first place. She may have Thanatos in her head. Though she claimed to be happy, can it be said that she was? She was just like her sister. That might be one of the reasons why Shoichi chose her as his next wife. She was just a substitute for her sister. Soon after he lost his wife, he married Natsuko and she was already pregnant. It is possible that Shoichi had intercourse with Natsuko before her sister died. Hisako, Shoichi's wife, was in the hospital. She died in the fire, but it is possible that she died of some disease if she was not caught in the fire. It was important for Shoichi to maintain a close relationship with his wife's family. This may be another reason why Shoichi chose Natsuko as his next wife. Although she felt happy, Natsuko may have also felt some guilt. This could be the reason why Natsuko went to the tower and refused Mahito's persuasion. After many adventures, Mahito meets the great uncle. He then asks Mahito to take over his job of stacking the building blocks that keeps the underworld in order. But Mahito refused, and declared that he would return to the world he once lived in. Have you seen the film E.T.? The end is very similar to the film. E.T. offered the boy to come with him, but he refused. The great uncle asked Mahito to stay in the world, but he refused. I have described that the stories that deal with another world are of two types: the stories to go and the stories to go back. But actually there's a third type, to stay. The protagonist lives in an unpleasant world. He could be happier if he left, but he chooses to stay. Great uncle did not seem shocked to hear Mahito's refusal. He said, "Whichever world you choose, you must still keep piling building blocks." This is the most important line in the film. Piling building blocks means creating the world you live in. Choosing the world you live in is important, but there's something more important. It is that you create the world you live in. You are the part of the world you live in. You have the responsibility to create it. What kind of world you live in depends on each of you who live there. You are the one who makes the world you live in. Inside the tower is the world created by Great Uncle, who refused to communicate with others. The model for the Heron that lured the protagonist to the tower is said to be Toshio Suzuki, the film's producer. And the model for the Great Uncle is said to be Isao Takahata. He was Hayao Miyazaki's animation teacher and also a rival. It can be said that Miyazaki's life was dedicated to creating animations that will be appreciated by Isao Takahata. Hayao Miyazaki, who was seduced by Toshio Suzuki into struggling to create animated works, had to compete with his teacher Isao Takahata in the tower called Studio Ghibli. This has been his life. Miyazaki, who had announced his retirement from filmmaking, announced that he would make this film in 2017. The following year, Takahata died. His death came as a huge shock to Miyazaki. Making this film was also a journey to overcome his death. The model of the Great Uncle is Takahata, but the one who portrays him is Miyazaki. Miyazaki was greatly influenced by Takahata, so the Great Uncle is also Hayao Miyazaki himself. That's why this underworld is full of quotes from his films. The great uncle had 13 blocks. The number is the same as the number of films he directed that were shown in cinemas. One of them is On Your Mark. Although it is a short film, only 7 minutes long, it is a very important work. Mahito decides to live in the real world. His mother Himi, who is happy about his decision, also decides to return to the real world. But Mahito suggested her to stay there, because she will die in fire if she chooses the real world. This means that Mahito is not negative to escape from the real world. But Himi decides to go back and give birth to Mahito. Mahito, Himi, and Natsuko returned to the real world. Himi, Hisako in the real world, gave birth to Mahito and sent him the book, How Do You Live? Mahito hit his head with a sharp stone and was injured because he didn't want to go to school. After Hisako's death, he read the book and knew how important it was to live right. It became his clue to change his mind. After experience in another world, saving Natsuko and Himi, he seems to be able to overcome his trauma. Most people need both the real world and the underworld, the world of their own imagination. Hayao Miyazaki himself must be spending most of his life in the world of imagination. Whichever world you choose, you should be right and choose a path you won't regret in there. Because the only one who creates your world is you. That's why Hayao Miyazaki asks, how do you live? Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up.